This episode of My Two Satoshis is brought to you by BitGet.com. BitGet is one of the fastest growing derivatives exchanges with 1.5 million users worldwide. Available to U.S. citizens, BitGet offers USDT margin trading and one-click copy trading. With over $5.6 billion in trading volume per day, you should start trading with the fifth largest global crypto exchange today. BitGet.com. Link in the description below.
This my two Satoshis, who need 2 cents when they can get double from stacking Toshis, yeah.
It's your boy Crypto Blood and welcome to another My Two Satoshis crypto news video. Before we get started, I do have to give a shout out to my man Wire Sparks, a longtime premium member for the song request Salsa Waka, gold switches, all my big B's down in Texas drinking that. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to my man Wire Sparks for the song request too. And today we're going to be looking at El Salvador. That's one of the topics. 3 million users onboarded. That's right. Almost half of their population now have $30 of Bitcoin. And this is very interesting and exciting news. But I think what's more important in this article is about the fact that El Salvador is using Bitcoin as a reserve. It's one of the only countries that has openly or publicly said that they've used Bitcoin or are using Bitcoin as a reserve and are mining it. So that's, I think, the more important thing, not that Bitcoin is now looked at as legal tender in the country. So we're going to take a look at that out of the Bitcoin magazine. Also, Plan B. I know many of you know about the Plan B StocktoFlow model. Well, he has a new prediction. Well, it's not really new. $135,000 Bitcoin-ish. What the Plan B model shows by the end of the year. You guys got to let me know in the comment section if you think that is going to happen. That's more than a doubling from here, about 2.5x from here. Is that possible? Let me know in the comments below. Plan B, man, he's been pretty accurate, that's for sure. No lie about it. I just can't see $130,000 Bitcoin by the end of the year. We're already in October. You guys got to help me out on that one. 3 months to make basically a 2.5x on Bitcoin. The thing is, any other cryptocurrency, I wouldn't have a problem with that. But the law of large numbers start playing a role in these prices. And as you try to double and double from there and double from, it just becomes more of a challenge to double an already decent sized market cap. And we'll also look at the fact that Plan B said that Bitcoin will hit $288,000 during this current cycle. So we'll look at even that particular pattern that he's seeing. Plan B is seeing through the StocktoFlow model in today's episode. Lastly, we've got the Fed. Yes, they've been pressured, and finally it looks like they're going to come out with their paper. It's not a white paper, but just like a report on central bank digital currencies and their take on Bitcoin and cryptos in general. I'll give you my 2 Satoshis on what this means, what a CBDC looks like for the Federal Reserve, and how it really is a threat to the banking system, to be honest with you. If you haven't thought about this, I'll explain it in today's video, but all 3 articles coming up on today's video of My 2 Satoshis. Let's get.
Before we start, if you guys find these types of videos informative, make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and click that bell to receive more videos like this.
But today's heat map is looking pretty green for Bitcoin. It is up near that $50,000 marker. It's up 2.8% today, trading at $49,070. Ethereum is about unch right now. It is trading at $3,391. It's up though. Over the last day or so, it's been making a move back up. As well as Bitcoin, and you see it looks down right now, but all of these coins right now, the altcoins that is, it's pretty much unch, right around 0% change or maybe a little bit under. So it's, it looks red, but it really isn't that bad of a day. You got Dogecoin is up though highly today, 10%, probably on that Elon Musk Twitter shilling that he's been doing lately. He also mentioned another meme coin, I think the Shiba Inu coin, and that's up like 30% today. Just crazy, man, how one guy can really move an entire crypto market, even though it's a small market cap. So I actually should not be that surprised. That's where we are with Bitcoin in the heat map. But technically, Bitcoin is looking very bullish right now. I thought we were going to see it move back down right here, but the bulls took back over and popped us back up, and we're heading toward that $50,000 marker that I have that red line drawn there That is the only area of concern I have, because as I've stated before, this could set up for a heads and shoulders pattern here for Bitcoin. All right, head in the middle and two shoulders. I need another few days to make sure that is not the case, or to really manifest that is the case, a head and shoulders for Bitcoin, which will mean a move back down. But at this point, I am bullish on Bitcoin. It really have been bullish since we had the short squeeze right here, though I didn't know how long that would last. So that is my only concern with Bitcoin, but I would be in a buying position right now if I were you, on the sidelines, or looking to add to your positions in Bitcoin or any other crypto markets. Only add on red days though. Look at the coin you're interested in, only buy on the red day. Believe me, don't let FOMO take hold of you. There are going to be down days even within a bullish cycle. So make sure you take your time, be patient, and buy on red days only. And this is a kind of off the cuff here. I don't know how many of you heard about this Facebook outage. Well, I think this outage must have affected Telegram as well, because I had issues earlier in Telegram trying to communicate with people. But yeah, it looks like Facebook had its worst outage since 2008. Yikes. 3 billion users Facebook has now versus what they had back in 2008, where only 80 million users. I'm saying only, that's still a lot of users, but compared to 3 billion today, that is a huge effect on an entire social network. Saying all that to say, Bitcoin didn't go out because it can't go out. It can't be shut down by an outage. The network is decentralized or distributed in a manner where one AWS server or Akamai or whatever goes down, it won't affect Bitcoin itself, the network. And that goes along with many of the other cryptocurrencies out there. It's just not Bitcoin. It's not an attribute just solely left to Bitcoin. This is for all cryptocurrencies that are distributed or decentralized in a manner. With that being said, El Salvador doing its job by onboarding 3 million Bitcoin users, and this is as the price is rising. The amazing thing about this is that El Salvador only has 6.4 million citizens. So that's nearly half of their citizens have received $30 worth of Bitcoin within the first month of being up and running. Now you could say, hey, that's a potential risk off or selling pressure, right? Because that's free money. Now they could possibly sell this Bitcoin in mass, and that's true, they could, but $30 million is not going to make much of a dent in a market that trades $32 billion in volume on a 24-hour period. So that's a drop in the bucket. Won't make an effect if all 3 million of those individuals sold Bitcoin. So that's not really a concern of mine. But what's interesting here is that the government itself has amassed over 700 Bitcoin, worth 33 million at the time of writing, up from about 31 million on September 30th. El Salvador last purchased Bitcoin at a dip around $45,000. So they're up in dollar terms on their investment. But what's interesting is that they are also mining Bitcoin. They are looking to make Bitcoin legal tender. They're mining it, and they're making it a national reserve. That's the key. Not the point that they're allowing people to use it as currency or recognizing it as legal tender. That's not really the important part. The important part where you should really think about and get excited about this is that you have a nation using Bitcoin as a reserve. That is the key. You get more countries using Bitcoin as a reserve, $1 million Bitcoin is easy, very easily achievable. So the world is definitely watching. We'll see, who's next. I heard Tongan is possibly thinking about doing what El Salvador did. I don't even know where this country is, to be honest with you, but they seem to be up next. We'll see how that goes for them. But it's a trickle effect, and it will happen. I'm more excited about these countries adopting it as a reserve currency or reserve asset more than someone using it to spend on coffee. Because ultimately, that's just not what you want to do with an asset like Bitcoin. You don't want to spend it on frivolous things. You want to hold it as an inflationary hedge against this dollar that is continuing to collapse, right? Down over 99% in the last 100 years. So that's what you want to use and leverage Bitcoin on, not spending it on some coffee. Let's next talk about amazingly accurate prediction that Bitcoin will hit $135,000 by the end of this year. And that, of course, couldn't come from anyone but Plan B. He is the creator of the stock-to-flow model for Bitcoin. And this is his worst case scenario for 2021 in Bitcoin. Look at that. It looks like it needs to, by the end of this year, it should be hitting 133,000 roughly to stay on point and on track with the stock-to-flow model. We've seen Bitcoin overshoot the model. The model was the white line there, the solid white line. We've seen it overshoot it in many periods of time, but we've also seen it underperform it and catch up to it. I'll try to make sure I leave a link to the StocktoFlow website so you guys can see the interactive chart for yourselves, but it has been quite accurate over the last few years for sure. So he's saying that the price of Bitcoin should hit this 135,000 by the end of this year. September prediction being less than 1% off. Okay, so his target was pretty close with his September prediction. September, for example, he said closed with Bitcoin trading around $43,000. Plan B's Bitcoin price prediction is based on on-chain metrics and his stock-to-flow model. All right, the stock-to-flow model is a ratio between the amount of Bitcoin in circulation with the production or flow to measure its abundance and predict its future price. Bitcoin stock is limited to 21 million and its flow halves every 4 years. Plan B's prediction sees the cryptocurrency moving to 63,000 this month to get close to its previous all-time high of 64,000 seen in April. And so by November, the cryptocurrency would trade at $98,000. And only in December does his prediction see a break of six figures to move to $135,000 Bitcoin. So some people think that this rally is going to be driven by FOMO, fear of missing out, by the end of this year. I will say typically Bitcoin does seem to rally during the holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas. People, come home, talk about how much money they've made in Bitcoin. You should be getting in. I told you about this last year, Johnny. All that stuff, right? That is typically what I've seen over the years, a holiday rally in Bitcoin, and then a sell-off right before the new year to lock in those either gains or losses, depending on where we are in the cycle for tax reasons. But that's possible. I think we are definitely going to see a rally into the end of the year. But what does that look like? This is the thing. None of this is ever 100%, right? We could still miss this target of Plan B's 133,000 because if you look at his chart, it stays around $130,000 to $100,000 for almost 2 years, I believe. So it doesn't have to hit it right at the new year or by the end of the year. It can be off a few months or so. We don't know what other geopolitical things might happen that would slow the growth of Bitcoin in the short run, but long term, we do know the Bitcoin is going to the moon. When I say to the moon, I mean multiple six figures easily. We're going to look at this next article that is just about that. The Federal Reserve talking about releasing finally their long-awaited paper on central bank digital currencies. They've been pressured for many, many months now. They said they were going to do it, then they never came out with it. And so, the press have been pressuring them for an answer on when this paper was going to be published. And so it looks like they're planning to release this long-awaited paper on central bank digital currencies as early as next week. Powell in the past has said that CBDCs will eliminate the need for cryptocurrencies, but an expert told Insider that CBDCs will complement rather than compete with private cryptocurrencies. What about public cryptocurrencies? That's what we want to know about. Do they think that CBDCs are going to replace Bitcoin or Ethereum or any of these other publicly created, distributed coins and tokens? I would love for them to stick their neck out on that one and be wrong, because we know the answer to that. It definitely can't compete at all. The Federal Reserve is planning to release this paper as early as next week, as I stated. So they said they were going to start researching and put something out about back in April and again in May. But never released anything. Following those comments, Powell said it was possible that a CBDC issued by the Fed would negate the need for stablecoins, a type of cryptocurrency pegged to an asset such as a fiat currency or a precious metal. Yet while the Fed thinks its digital dollar could eventually replace other cryptos, others think it will simply exist alongside. Now, that's a good point. I mean, if a CBDC is issued by the Federal Reserve, there really isn't a need for a stable coin at that point, to be honest with you, especially if that CBDC is an ERC20 standard, right, where it can be used on Ethereum or some other standard that's already used. I highly doubt that that's going to be the case. They always got to make their stuff proprietary. But if they do use a standard that is openly used, then there wouldn't be a need for any of these stable coins any longer. But there will always be a need for a Bitcoin or any of these Ethereum, EOS, whatever, any of these other tokens, Avalanche. These tokens are outside the scope and control of the Federal Reserve. So those coins will not be affected by a CBDC rollout by the Federal Reserve. So as of now, 81 countries are actually exploring their own CBDCs, and 14, including major economies like Sweden and South Korea, are in the pilot stages, while 5 have already launched them, according to a tracker by the Atlantic Council. China leads, of course, the pack by far with this digital yuan. You guys already know that's been in the wild since the Olympics. Of the countries with the 4 largest central banks, the Fed, the Europe, the EU, and the Bank of Japan and Bank of England, the US is the furthest behind, according to the tracker. So here's the actual CBDC tracker. Pretty neat tracker. I'll leave a link in the description for that for you to check out. Ultimately, here's where I think they're hesitant on rolling out a CBDC, them meaning the Federal Reserve. The reason why I think they're hesitant, not because they think that people won't use it or it won't gain much traction. It's going to gain a lot of traction. The issue is it's going to eliminate the private banks. Banks will no longer be necessary. You'll be able to keep your money with the Federal Reserve directly without any private banks like JP Morgan or Bank of America, even regional banks eventually will be slaughtered with this new system. Do they want to do that? No, the Federal Reserve does not want to do that, honestly. It would be too disruptive and would cause a lot of pain in the banking industry. A lot of people laid off for sure, but that's why I think they're slow to adopt this, because it eliminates the need for private banks, regional and nationally. We'll see. They're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. I don't know what they're going to do. That's only one issue that they got on their hands, though. They got this whole, how do you taper all these trillions of dollars? How do you pull those monies out of the system without causing a collapse? I don't think they can do it. So they got bigger issues on their hands other than launching a CBDC and disrupting the banking system. You guys let me know in the comments below. What do you think? So they're going to release this paper and solicit public comment on the matter. The decision is unlikely to be taken quickly, given the difference in opinion between the Fed officials on the benefits and risks of CBDCs. I personally just don't see them doing it. The United States typically last to the table, and it just is what it is. So let me know what you think. Do you think they're going to launch a CBDC anytime soon? They're already way behind. If you look at the tracker, they are way behind, still in the research phase. 19 other countries are either already in pilot or fully launched. So I don't know. We'll see what happens here, ladies and gents. But that's pretty much it for today. Shout out again to my man Wire Sparks for the song request. Sauce Waka, Gold Switches. If you found this video informative, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you like, you share, and you subscribe. And you got to click that bell. If you are already subscribed and you think you clicked that bell, unclick it and click it again just to make sure. All right. It's your boy Crypto Blood, and that's my 2 Satoshis. I'm out of here. Holla.
Must be turkey on the plate. It's some thanks is being given. It's funny how they